All right, so in this sketch lesson, I'm going to talk about drawing hands. I know a lot of people who've had difficulty, you know, getting a grasp on drawing hands, and I also have been there, and that's why I chose years ago to try to not be so scared and just start drawing them, no matter how crude they started, off to be. I would just slowly work on them. So as most people understand, your hand, I like to generalize the shapes initially. Um, let me draw this a little bigger here. So, yeah, generalized shape. And if you notice, in your hand, the line wherever your fingers meet your palm is curved. So that's why I draw this initial kind of shape there. And then also the other thing I'm really looking at when I'm drawing hands is the where the fingertips are in relation to the rest of the other fingers. So that generalized shape there, in the like when you really start to understand how that looks when you're drawing the hands, that is a huge thing. That's like was a big groundbreaking moment for me when I started to realize the difference in the length of the fingers. Because once I started actually drawing the fingers in those proportions, my drawings in my hands started to look more like I wanted them to. So, for instance, if I were to just draw a general, finger shape like that, almost spilled my coffee. The next finger, so if this is the index finger, the next finger is going to be the middle finger, and it's obviously longer. So I draw it a little bit longer. And then the next one, the ring finger. It's going to be shorter than the index finger, or shorter than the middle finger and both the index finger. And then you have your pinky finger, which on my hand it comes, about to that second knuckle. So already, you have this general arc, which is a huge determiner on whether your hands are going to start to really look the way you want them to. As far as the thumb goes, I will tend to draw this pad here in the hand, and then you have this shape here. The other biggest thing I've tend to practice with hands is, like I've mentioned before, visual memory, or it's almost like a muscle memory of like what those shapes are actually, what they look like. So, for instance, this, I don't spend a lot of time on getting it perfect, but I get it. I tend to get it to a point where it's like, yeah, that looks the way that I want it to look. So for drawing this thumb here, like I'm looking at my hand and I'm getting those shapes. Now, in some instances, I don't like if this is jutting out too much. So, I bring it in, or I have to bring it out, or, kind of you just adjust where your lines are at. And the biggest thing is when it comes to drawing, if you really want to get good at drawing, you cannot be afraid of making marks. Essentially you have to, accept them. One of my old professors, Don Van Auken, amazing guy. If you like really cool art that's horror based, but not super like realistic or gory. Just a lot of fun. Check out Don Van Auken's artwork. Yeah. So he taught me to accept my lines. Don't constantly be erasing them all the time. I do erase, to kind of give myself a better idea of the whole thing. But overall, so from with understanding this basis of the hands and stuff like this, you can go anywhere from, so I'm still kind of keeping this idea in my head. And so the pinky, I know, like in this instance with the pinky is going to be the closest finger to me. I'm going to draw that one first. And, I kind of gave it a little bit of a kink. And then the next one is going to be the ring finger. And I know that one is longer than that one. So I draw that next with that same kind of kink in it. And then the middle finger, of course, is even longer than that one by like a little bit more, or I think it's and then the index finger is longer than the ring finger, but not longer than the middle finger. And then you can add in those little creases, like the palm reading wrinkles in your hand, and that's kind of the general idea of what's going on in my head when I'm drawing hands. And then from there, you learn to, incorporate dexterity and, the angles of the fingers. I've always been obsessed with drawing hands in really weird positions and stuff. The other thing I was really obsessed with for a long time was drawing mudras or hand symbols. Things of this nature. And I would have my characters or whoever I was drawing have these fingers. And I've actually studied what some of these hand gestures mean. So if you want to get better at drawing hands, take some of this into account that I've talked about. Also, you have a great resource that's attached to you with drawing hands. It's your own hand. Yeah, use it. If you want to learn how to draw hands, just learn how to draw your own hand and in as many weird positions as possible, because if you're drawing, if you're working on something and you're like, oh, I want the character's hands to do this, and you've already practiced that hand gesture, it can come second nature. So yeah, that's kind of my little lesson on hands for you. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment, or you can personal message me. Please like and share so I can keep doing what I like doing.